You kneel in the dark. The wood of the confessional creaks under your weight. On the other side of the screen, you hear a slow, gentle breath. A man of God, a holy voice, someone you are taught to trust. In the name of the Father and of the Son, you close your eyes. You whisper your sins. You don't see the way his fingers tighten on the rosary. You don't see the way he stares through the thin wooden slats, imagining what your body will look like when it's no longer breathing. Because in this quiet town in Pampanga, the most dangerous man isn't hiding in the forest. He's waiting for you in church. And history remembers him as one of the first recorded Filipino serial killers. This is the true dark history of Father Juan Severino Mallari, the Catholic priest serving in 19th century Philippines, who turned his parish into a hunting ground and was accused of murdering dozens of his own parishioners. A man who believed he needed blood to break a curse. Let's go back to Pampanga, sometime in the early 1800s. The Philippines is under Spain. The church is everything. If you live in the province of Pampanga, your priest isn't just a religious leader. He's your counselor, your teacher, your connection to power. Juan Severino Mallari became the parish priest of Magalang, Pampanga. To most people, he was simply Father, the man you'd ask to baptize your child. No one knew that behind the calm sermons and familiar rituals, something was unraveling inside his mind. Because while the church preached salvation, Mallari became obsessed with something else, a curse. Some accounts say he believed his own mother was bewitched, that she was the victim of a spell that could only be broken with sacrifice. Historians debate the exact details. The records are incomplete, buried in Spanish-era documents and second-hand reports. But one horrifying point keeps returning in the research. Father Mallari is believed to have killed again and again over many years while still wearing the collar of a priest. Imagine living in that town. You go to Mass every Sunday. You see Father Mallari at the altar, his voice echoing under the wooden beams of the church. You watch him raise the host, talk about salvation, forgiveness, the mercy of God. And then, quietly, people start to disappear. Historians estimate that Mallari may have killed around 50 people. A man of God choosing who would live and who would become his next offering. We don't have a diary of his confession, but from the surviving records, a disturbing picture forms. A son who thought his mother's suffering could be healed with blood. If you sit in the pews, you never see the cracks. From the outside, he's still a priest. From the inside, his faith has twisted into something else. Faith in his mind becomes a bargain. If I kill, God will lift this curse. If I make enough sacrifices, my mother will be saved. This is the most terrifying kind of killer, not the one who knows he is evil, but the one who thinks he's justified. Because when someone believes murder is holy work, ordinary morality doesn't apply. How many times did he look into a parishioner's eyes, offer a blessing, and decide they would not leave the church alive? This isn't just a story about one broken man. In Spanish-era Philippines, the church held enormous power. If a normal person was suspected of murder, rumors would spread fast. But when you suspect a priest, when your entire spiritual life depends on the church, silence becomes safer than accusation. especially when the priest is Filipino, a rare position of authority in a society dominated by Spanish officials and friars. The horror here isn't only in the killings themselves, but in the way power, faith, and fear worked together to protect the killer. For years, the church and colonial authorities either didn't see the pattern or didn't want to see it. It took time before anyone in power connected the disappearances to the man at the altar. At some point, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Strange deaths, missing people, links that started to circle back to the same priest. Some accounts say that items belonging to the dead were found in his possession. Others emphasize that his mental instability became visible to those around him. What we do know is this: Father Juan Severino Mallari was eventually investigated, declared insane by authorities, and removed from his position. The church that once protected him finally began to see him as a problem it couldn't hide. He was arrested. He was imprisoned. Mallari's nightmare didn't end at the moment of arrest. Reports say he spent around 14 years in prison before facing his final punishment. In 1840, Juan Severino Mallari was executed by hanging. No dramatic last words recorded, no public confession that survived the archives. Just a rope, a drop, and silence. And then, almost as quickly as it began, the story disappeared. For decades, even centuries, the name Mallari barely appeared in mainstream history books. He wasn't turned into a famous case like Jack the Ripper. He wasn't paraded as a cautionary tale. He was inconvenient. In a deeply Catholic country, talking about a Filipino priest as a serial killer is uncomfortable. It shows how much destruction one respected man can cause when power, faith, and mental illness collide. Only much later did researchers and writers digging through old records pull his name back into the light. Today, people argue over the exact number of victims. Some question if all the stories attached to his name are accurate, or if later retellings exaggerated the horror. But even if we strip away the rumors, we're still left with something undeniable. A priest, multiple murders, a parish turned into a hunting ground. That alone places this case among the most extreme and unsettling crimes in Philippine history. If this were just a story about a single killer, it would be terrifying enough. But what makes Father Mallari's case truly horrifying is the combination. On one side, a man whose beliefs twisted into delusion, who thought murder could heal a curse. On the other, a powerful religious structure that made him almost untouchable until it was far too late. Psychological horror, the idea that the person hearing your sins could also be calculating your death. Systemic horror, the realization that institutions built to protect you can accidentally shield the monster. In today's Philippines, people go to the same kinds of churches, they kneel in the same rows, they whisper the same prayers. Most priests are not killers, most confessions are safe. But buried in the archives of Pampanga is a reminder that sometimes the real horror story is written on official paper, signed by colonial officials, and buried in dusty shelves.